go. A Twitch streamer got burgled whilst live.
What?
He carried on streaming anyway. Hold on.
I mean, that'd be mean.
Australian
Like-
Twitch streamer Empire found himself in a terrifying situation during a live broadcast on February 16th where a robber tried to break into his home.
That is insane.
Oh, wait, there's a video. Oh, hold on. I'll display. Kind of want to edit my display capture because it just looks really annoying being able to see, like, what is this? This is 105, right? And then this is like 50? Yeah. And put that more central. Maybe down there. Just looks a bit better.
Hello, I am live.
Yeah.
Hello, Casper. Well, hello, live. I'm right.
I'm
I'm gonna
recording.
play this video for my stream so they can see what we're on about. But this guy apparently got robbed whilst live.
Yeah. It's mad. It's a bit crazy, honestly. Australians are a different breed. Like, honestly.
I heard there was a girl that got her eyes sliced open by a cat on stream.
Oh my god.
My mate was telling me
Did
last
you
night,
guys
and
ever
she
see that
carried
woman
on.
that got like Oh, he's going to his door. Oh no. He's just like, wow, what are you doing?
How do I edit my live notification?
It'll be.
Oh,
in
there's
the
people
stream
trying to break
information.
into his house. Shit, bro.
Oh, just imagine, eh? Do you know what I'd love to do on stream?
What?
Ugh, I don't want to know.
Get burgled?
Stop it.
I don't want to know
no,
the
I'd
things
love-
that you do on stream, Millie.
I get paid good money for it. No, I think it'd be really cool if we did a podcast episode where we just played a menial game whilst we did it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I
like
like this idea.
Memulus does.
I don't know
Although,
what that means.
my one like issue with that
Hey, CM Palaces. How you doing, man?
is, have you seen how I do the archive channel?
I haven't.
Right. Okay. Well, there's an entire channel that you're on that you
what?
don't know about the content of, but the archive channel is I just upload these streams, and how I do it is I put our faces in little our webcams. That's why I asked you to record your streams, so that I can put our webcams and our audio and sync it all up correctly. So
That's pretty cool.
the my only issue with doing game is I don't know how the fuck I would even what I'd do about that.
We could test it out, surely. Even just casually, just do like a.
Maybe if we did like a gameplay but without our face cams, just so that it doesn't look as so shit.
Oh,
'Cause-
a Minecraft podcast.
I think the world doesn't need another Minecraft podcast, you know?
Okay, fair enough.
I'm down to play a game either before, during, or after the podcast. I have concerns about during, just because of concentration, because like the podcast is more like just discussing stuff, and then like if we're playing a game at the same time, we do tend to like gravitate to talking about the game. Because I have seen other people do podcasts where like the first hour is them just chatting shit, and then like the second hour or the next couple of hours are them playing a game, and there is a distinct difference in what they talk about between those two things. And I don't just want the podcast to become every other stream, you know?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Because every other stream that I do, I'm playing a game and I'm talking about that game, right?
Yeah.
And then if we're doing a podcast, we might as well just be doing any single other stream.
I think
I've
it'd
done.
just be nice for people to watch in the background.
Yeah, that's what I
Like-
don't like the thought of people being too focused on my mug.
I mean, that's you kind of just watch a that's what podcasts are, isn't it?
Yeah, true. You are right. You make a valid
Like-
point.
Like, if we're gonna have something else to focus on, I guess we could put something in the background, maybe. But like, the
No, that's
the
fair.
issue there is like we will just be talking about the game, like guarantee you.
Okay, fair. Well, it's something we could try and work out, even if it's a separate thing.
I am definitely down to play a game after, if
Yeah.
you want. I would be up for that. I think that's a good idea. But during, I'm just not too sure about how that would work
That's fair.
in
That's
terms
fair.
of us being concentrated. Like, none of us can fucking concentrate on one thing for 5 minutes anyway. So, add a video game into the mix
That
and
is
we're
fair.
fucked.
That is fair. ADHD ass.
So go on.
So, yeah, a guy was robbed during stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played the video on my stream. He didn't seem phased at all. He was just like, "I'll be right
I
back,
think
guys.
it's just
I'm getting robbed."
Australians. Like, they just seem so laid back all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I kind of understand why my cousin went to live in Australia from seeing videos like that. Like, imagine that happening. Like, it makes me want to move to Australia.
But
Will
the
I
thing-
be like that?
But the thing is, though, like with Australians, sure, like I feel like natural selection doesn't apply to them. Like they're used to these like deadly spiders and snakes and stuff. and,
Yeah.
like, the wildfires as well. Like, to be fair, the resilience of Australians. Like, if anyone's going to be the modern day Avengers, they're definitely going to spawn. Look at Thor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I get you. Yeah, because like I don't know how you survive for so long, especially like the heat, the fires, and the
Oh, bro.
venomous things. Like
I was
I
just
see,
thinking-
I
Like-
see a spider, and I'm like, spider, it's fine. You see a spider in Australia, and you're like, oh shit, mate,
Am I gonna
we're gonna
die?
die. This is the end of my life.
Did you know they banned a Peppa Pig episode in Australia?
Oh, yeah, that's so funny. The one where she makes friends with a spider. Because
No,
if a
was-
kid makes friends with a spider in
Mhm.
Australia, it might actually kill them.
Mr. Skinny Legs, she found a spider and she was terrified. And then Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig were terrified as well. And then George comes over and he's like, hey, playing with the spider. And they're like, oh, spiders are friends. And Australians are like, no, they're not. Stop it.
Yeah.
But
Like,
yeah,
I think it got shown once in Australia, and there was so many complaints because the
Yeah.
spiders over there, like, will kill a child.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's terrifying.
Like,
Ugh.
Australians are just mad.
I want Takeshi's Castle Australia edition.
Oh. What?
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
So you're just dodging kangaroo punches and trying to pick up the spider that isn't going to kill you.
No, that's daily Australian life, mate. Gotta set something unique. They gotta be doing like wearing spandex or something.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a warmer Britain.
Yeah, that's
You know?
all it is. My
Like
nana
a
went on
warmer,
holiday last
slightly
year.
more deadly Britain. You know?
Do we need
Yeah.
that? Is that
That's basically what Australia is. I really want to
Although-
go just to see what it's like.
I've heard
And to meet a
Americans. I've
kangaroo.
heard Americans say that it's just the warmer America as well. So it's kind of like
Yeah, that's what my nana said as well.
Have you guys been
Could-
abroad before?
never.
Never. Same.
I
Really?
have
I thought you would
on
have been.
school trips.
I've never been abroad. I've been invited to so many times. So many people have been like, "Oh, I'm going to be your first person to go abroad with." Like, I've been invited to like Spain, Greece, Sweden. Like, I have so many people that like fully have offered to like pay for my flights and stuff as well, like to see me. And I'm like, I have no passport. And at that point, like, I was in between houses, so I couldn't even like do. 2020 actually, conveniently enough, was meant to be the year that I was going to sort my passport out and travel the world.
Wow.
Oh yeah, there's no point sorting it out at the moment. It's a
No,
waste of money.
Well, you're not allowed to. When I last, because I was like, oh, I have some money left over. I can sort my passport out, so it's ready for when Corona ends. But the actual like Gov website, you can't apply for a passport unless it's like you're traveling for a funeral or something. You're not allowed.
That's fucked.
It does make sense.
That
though,
has
because
doesn't no, but doesn't that have like it makes sense in terms of travel, but doesn't that have like serious implications for identity and
Yeah.
the ability to have your own ID?
Oh, definitely.
Like, that has some real fucked up implications. Not for
Exactly.
traveling. Like, I get it for traveling, but for living in this country.
Well,
That has
exactly.
some really bad
Yeah.
implications.
I
That's
suppose
actually quite
driver's
scary.
licenses, but if you consider people who've lost their license for whatever reason, and they can't reapply for a driver's license or even a provisional or anything, that would be their only form of ID.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's my only form of ID, and I'm not sure if it's valid because my gender marker is still female because I refuse to pay the £200 it costs to change it.
200 fucking quid.
Basically, you have to fill in a form to prove that you're trans. Pay £200. And then it goes to a panel who are cis people who never meet you, they never speak to you, and they decide if you're trans enough to change your gender marker.
That's so
Wow.
fucked.
That's real fucked.
So I'm refusing to do it on
That's
principle. Like, I don't want people I never meet choosing my future for me and choosing like
Well, it's
Just-
kind of like a belief thing. It's like, what are they going to do? Say, no, we don't think you're trans. We think you're lying. What do you do with that? I suppose you'd appeal it, but like,
Yeah, but,
who's
like-
to say how someone identifies?
I guess they have
Exactly.
like certain check boxes that they have to fill, but honestly, I wouldn't put it past it to be just a conspiracy to keep trans people where they are.
Well, 100%.
Yeah. and it's ridiculously expensive, and some
Yeah.
people don't even get approved first time. So like I've got some friends who've had to do it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So
And is it
it
like
ended up
£200
costing,
every time?
£600, yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked.
But
Yeah,
for
I
some
genuinely
people,
think a lot of this stuff is designed to just keep trans people where they are, or to stop them
Yeah.
transitioning. And I don't understand the logic in that. Like, all you're doing is making it so that you have less citizens in
Yeah.
your
Exactly.
country.
like
Because
like,
they
it
just
makes,
like so many trans people just kill themselves because of this shit.
Yeah.
So all
Yeah,
you're doing is just
like-
making it so that you have less stuff. Mayamore 69, thanks for the follow.
Like, these are tax-paying people. Do you know what I mean? They should have the right to be able to identify on legal documentation, however the fuck
exactly
they choose to.
like I can't travel to America on my passport because my gender marker's F, and obviously I look male now. They have rules in America that if your gender doesn't match up to your passport, you're not allowed in.
That is so.
So
But,
the gender
I
you
don't-
present as doesn't match up to your
Yeah.
passport.
That's so messed up though, because that's
I don't
So
want to go to
why?
America anyway.
Yeah, no.
So it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to do a year abroad like some people do at uni,
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do that because of my trans identity. And I just think it's unfair, and there will be hundreds of trans students all across the country who will be scared of doing those opportunities because of their passport, because they can't afford to get a gender marker. Like, it's ridiculous, and the Gender Recognition Act needs to be reformed, like the government said that they were going to do a few years ago, but
Never
just
did.
brushed on, but just brushed up, just brushed under the rug, and never spoke about again. Like, it makes no sense. But I don't mean for everything I talk about to end up being about trans rights violations.
No.
I mean, it's good to
with
talk
this
about
government, but unfortunately, everything I speak about ends up coming round to the Tories violating trans people's rights.
The thing
that. I
is,
mean,
because
when you don't
can't
have
help-
the rights in the first place, it kind of
Yeah.
makes it hard not to talk about, especially when everyone around you just has those rights by default.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want to sound like a what's it called? A stopped record or whatever it's called.
Broken
Stuck
records.
record.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a broken record. because every podcast
No.
I've ended up bringing things back to trans rights.
But
And
the thing is, though, Casper, it's not just about trans rights. Do you know what I mean? It all leads into something. So, for example, it is a violation of trans rights, the fact that you have to sort of present as your assigned gender to travel to the Americas. But what about people, sort of, for example, like polycystic ovaries? Like a couple of people have symptoms where they do grow facial hair. What about
Yeah,
people who
exactly.
are just naturally, well, stereotypically masculine looking? Do you know what I mean? Like, if I don't wear a bra, I could easily be mistaken for a man. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's completely messed up.
Yeah.
it just makes no sense, and this government need to step back.
Sort
and-
that
And it's not.
shit
It's,
out.
Take a
I
long,
think it's
hard
not
look
even,
at themselves.
Like, it's not even a violation of trans rights necessarily. It's just a violation of human rights because
Yeah.
there are human rights that say, like, you know, freedom to travel, freedom to, you know, be yourself, freedom to do
Yeah.
these things. I'm not going to quote exact human rights laws off the top of my
Yeah.
head because I can't, because I don't know them. But I know for a
Yeah.
fact that I have the right to travel. Like, I can do that. It's harder, especially now we've left the EU, and it costs
Yeah.
money, but I have the right to, and I will
Should
be
you
able to
choose
do that.
to.
And as a cis man, I can walk into an airport and be like, I'm going to America now. And
they'd be
the
like,
fact,
"Cool."
and it's not even just, it's not even a trans rights issue, it's a human rights violation,
Yeah.
not allowing trans people to do this.
Yeah,
Well,
it
I
it
don't-
just makes no sense. Like, for some people, they've had all of the surgery, and they need that to be like the icing on the cake sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because when you start a new job, for example, you have to show your ID,
Mhm.
and if your gender marker is female, and and you're presenting as male, then you have to have that conversation with an employer, and you shouldn't have to being stealth at jobs and work is something that a lot of people do, and something that I will probably do at some point in my life, because it's easier than having a conversation about trans people
But
every
it's-
But
day.
you'd have
when
to
I'm
have
having my
that
coffee.
conversation anyway if your gender markers. if your
But
gender markers is
I
myself.
won't be able to be stealth at work ever, because I will have to show my identification, which outs me as trans, which could be a safety issue.
Aye.
Like,
100%. I think the only thing I can sort of, because trying to look at it from like a sort of like standpoint of what do they gain from that, the only thing I can really think of is like maternity leave. Do you know what I mean? Like sort of, obviously, if you were assigned female at birth, that would be more of an issue than you if you're assigned male at birth. Do you know what I mean?
oh yeah, that's a
But
good
don't-
point.
In
Actually.
terms of
Yeah.
employment,
They don't
but-
consider, what about people who are infertile? Do they then have to have a conversation about the fact that they won't have kids? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
It makes no
it's
sense.
ridiculous.
Like, it shouldn't have to be a conversation that
No.
trans people have to have with every employer. Like, I don't want to start a new job and have to tell people that I'm trans if I don't want to do so, because
Exactly. And at the
I
end of the
shouldn't
day
have
as well, yeah, as you said, it's a safety issue. And I think it goes back to what Rai said in the last stream about if you want to come out but you feel like you're not safe to, like, that's kind of pushing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly, it's
be
pushing the
anywhere.
boundary.
That can be anywhere at any given time, and you always need to put your safety first, and it can really limit the things that you do.
Absolutely.
I like and I feel like it's a worrying thing going to America anyway, because not to alienate any Americans listening to this, but there are some incredibly transphobic states. Like,
Oh yeah, I don't think I will ever go to America because I
our
think I'd be
country's really
killed.
shit. Our country's really shit, and there are some places that are better to be trans in than others in our country. But we're on a small scale, and I like to think that we are at least better than some of the states in America.
100%.
We are hands down so much better than all of America,
Yes.
because like in
You heard it here first, folks. Casper hates
it-
Americans.
it's like I don't hate Americans. Like, I love my friends that are American.
Americans are scum!
It's like, I don't hate Americans. I love Americans. I love my
Yeah,
American
no,
friends.
of course.
And I would very much like to meet them in person. However, I wouldn't feel safe.
Yes, no.
I'm flying out to stay with my friends who live in Florida, for example, because I am trans. Like, I know that I'm cis-passing, and minus the pink hair, if I was to dye my hair brown, like, I could walk down the street and people would think I'm straight, even.
Yeah.
But the pink hair is a bit of a dead giveaway. But I wouldn't feel safe flying over to Florida to stay with my friend for a week or so because of the amount of very, very conservative... Is conservative the bad one in America?
They're both pretty bad.
I mean, which one was Donald Trump?
And I think that, no, it's not... We have Conservatives and Labour here, and then
They have
over there,
Republicans.
it's Republicans and Democrats, I think. But they're both just as bad as each other.
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I wouldn't feel safe in Florida, for example, because of all of the Trump supporter-like people. I don't know what party he's from. I don't know American politics. I am English.
Republican.
I don't
Republic.
need to know American politics.
Republican, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Biden's
don't
Democrat.
understand American politics. I don't understand why they only appear to have two parties. Like, I know we have Labour and Conservative who are the main ones, but we also have Lib Dems and Greens and...
This is a thing that I don't understand, right? And this is a thing that's heavily discouraged me from politics in terms of participating in it, especially in our country. I'll steer away from America because I have no say in American politics, despite whatever opinions I have on it. But we have Labour and Conservative, and those are all the people that we ever talk about. What I don't understand is why... there was more there, but actually no.
Like,
Why are they the only parties that we talk about? Especially when I'm not going to say that there's a party out there that shits gold. I think politics, especially in this country, is inherently corrupt. But there are parties out there that I hear do really good things. Apparently, we are run
Such as the
by
Green Party.
We're run by a Green Party. Our town
Yes,
is run by
we're
a
the
Green...
only Green Party MP in the country.
Yeah, and so we are run by a Green Party candidate, and I hear a lot of things in and around Brighton that are good about the Green Party, which is great. Okay, why are they not? Why do they not have a chance? Why does no one else other than Labour or Conservative have a chance?
Like,
a power?
I don't understand why in Brighton we are the only people in the country that have a Green MP, because when I lived in Manchester, I used to vote Labour because of Corbyn. Now I'm not. I'm never going to vote Labour again in my life because of the transphobia.
Yeah.
No.
I'll probably end up voting Green for the rest of my life.
And I think this is what discourages a lot of young people as well.
And
like I haven't voted yet. I might eventually. I've gotten more opinionated about politics as I've got older. But the first vote I was given was Brexit. That was my first vote. And then shortly after that, it was for PM. I didn't participate in either. And both times, it was because I looked at either option and I was just like, either A, what the fuck did this mean in terms of Brexit? And B, who are these people? Why should I care? They're both just as bad as each other. It doesn't... Sorry, go on, Millie. You've been trying to speak for ages.
I was just going to say, like, as far as, like, the sort of two main political powers, I presume it'd be either a case of the capital city itself, London, businessmen, they want privatisation, stuff like that. That's what the Conservatives feed off of. And as well as that, if it's not that, I'd say it's a case of back when there was sort of more equality between the parties. Do you know what I mean? Like Plaid Cymru.
Yeah, like,
Green
I'm
Party,
sure...
So, Lib Dems, stuff like that. it's a case of like I can't remember how long Tory's been in power now. I think it's like 3 terms.
Too long.
I think it's a case of
My entire life.
well, exactly. So it's a case of they clearly did some pretty good advertising, some pretty good like publicity. They clearly reached the right people, and it's a lot easier to stay in power once you're in power than give other people a shot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It just,
I still don't really understand politics. Like, I do vote and I do read their policies and shit and try to educate myself the best I can. But I think if I was taught it in school, like school PSE lessons or PSHE or citizenship or whatever it's called, if they focused more on politics and helping young people understand politics, because I'm 25 and I really struggle to understand even the COVID announcements. I don't understand. Like, I watch them and it makes me feel thick, and I'm like I know that I'm not stupid.
yeah.
Like, so, and we need to be taught about what the policies stand for, who they are, and we need to be told that it's okay to have a different political opinion to your friend or your family.
I think it's a case of, though, as well, look at the whole Brexit thing again. I remember I was in sixth form. I did a whole, for my Welsh Baccalaureate, I did a survey on Brexit. And also, at the same time, looking at the voting ages as well, because 18 is the national voting age, right?
Yeah.
The whole ideology of young people don't know shit, they should have no say over the future because older people have lived through it and they know what's best. No, sorry, Doreen is going to pass on next year, mate. Why should she get more of a vote than a 16-year-old who has spent... For example, I had a friend who is so involved in politics, she always has been. She knew her shit straight up. She was 16. I feel like she'd have made a more informed decision because she'd gone out of her way. And I think it's a case of they restrict them because if young people catch on to how much we're being fucked over, that's going over. Bojo's gone. Do you know what I mean? And it's all a bloody conspiracy theory. Like, they're keeping us dumbed down because I feel like the younger generation now is the mentality of, like, fuck off. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, though, right? You could teach young people all about politics, and I think that the end result will be more people like me who look at it and go, none of these options are good. I don't want any involvement in what's about to happen.
So what you do then is you establish a party yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if you could teach young people how to be more involved in that sense, that, I think, would be real power. But if you're just teaching them about parties and their policies and stuff, I think you're just going to get more people looking at the current parties and being like, well, fuck you. You don't stand for me. None of you stand for me. None of this is worth working, and none of it is worth voting for. So I'm not going to. And
Do you know what you should do?
Yeah.
Totally start your own party up and just call it
www.twitch.com/Zenith Games. Yes.
So they have to tick it every time they vote for you, mate.
Yeah, boy. Twitch.com/Zenith Games. It's the future.
And then
I'll just be sat there with my purple hair. It's still blue. I've been meaning to dye it. I actually have the dye. I promise.
Yeah,
I do actually have the dye to dye my hair. I just haven't.
I think I might dye mine tomorrow because tomorrow
I've been saying that I'll dye mine tomorrow for the past week.
all of my uni work done, so I can just leave it on my head whilst I'm doing work.
I'm so sad though because the whole reason part of the reason I shaved my head is because it was so dead. I bleached it and coloured it and I did every single colour, and I was like, I'm gonna shave my head, I'm gonna grow it till it's down to my ass, and then I'm gonna do what I want with it. But then that's it then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I hate it. The only thing I did really is when I buzz cut it, I bleached it as well. So I've got a little bit blonde in the ends of it. But bro, talking about dyeing hair, I would love to just bleach my hair right now. Just colour it every single colour. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like,
talking of fun hairstyles, I want to talk about this. I didn't know if anyone else knows about this, but I literally just stumbled across this. There's gonna be a Cruella de Vil movie.
Let me just
Did
quickly
you guys know
open
about
this
that? Because
article.
I only just found out about this
No,
5 minutes
I didn't
before our
know.
podcast started, and oh my god,
Oh my goodness.
they're gonna turn Emma Stone.
Oh my god, it's
into
Emma Stone.
Cruella de Vil.
Um,
Yeah,
I think there's a trailer. Let me go to YouTube.
yeah, there is. Are you gonna play the trailer on your stream, Cassie? Because I've
Not
already
on my
watched it.
stream. I'm gonna. Oh, Jasper's here, and he says, "Have you seen the Jeremy Paxman Russell Brand interview?" No, I haven't. What has Jeremy Paxton and Russell Brand done? I know that Russell Brand's really like political and like really odd. Like he's got really odd over the past few years, and I'm not sure how I feel, honestly. Like
I just don't care about him, like either one way or the other. Like, I don't.
Cruella de Vil trailer 2021.
Did you know
Oh yes,
Tom
she does
Holland-
look good. Like I think it could go one either way. It could be really
Well,
good.
Maleficent
Or the
was
CGI
incredible.
dogs will be really, really creepy and make me never want to watch a Disney film again.
Yeah, well, I think it would be quite good because Maleficent was actually quite an incredible retelling
Oh, yeah.
of that Disney villain. I think because
I have never
because
seen
she's such
Maleficent.
an obscure character, really. You know,
I rewatched that recently.
like when you like the original cartoon, like you were always rooting for the hero. Maleficent never got really much screen time, so for then like an entire 2 live action films to be made with Angelina Jolie being her beautiful self, with
don't
wings and everything,
even.
it's just so cool.
Have you
And
heard about...
I just thought it was brilliant, and I think this will be great. Go on.
I think I need to watch those eventually. I've not watched them
You
yet.
definitely should. Apparently Tom Holland is going to be doing a live action Ben 10.
Oh yes, okay.
Which is gonna
Cherry
be-
comes out. Cherry comes out next week on Apple TV,
What's
which
Cherry?
I don't have, but I might have to get a free trial. It's the new Tom Holland movie. I'm not sure what it's about from the trailer. I just know that it's got Tom Holland in it,
Yeah.
and apparently it's a bit like one of the Ocean's films. You know, like Ocean's 11 and Ocean's 13,
okay.
whatever, but modern with Tom Holland in it. And I'm quite excited for it because he is a very, very good actor, and
love
I
it.
like
Such a beautiful
and I
man.
like
love
seeing
Tom
him
Holland.
in different sorts of roles. Like he was really good in Spider-Man, obviously, and he was
of course.
really good in the Devil All the Time, I think it was called.
Do you know who else I forgot I had the biggest crush on? I was rewatching Iron Man because on Disney Plus there's an option to watch all the Marvel films in like cinematic time.
Oh yeah, we did that.
Robert Downey Jr.
We did that, although I will say it's missing both the Spider-Man films, or
Yeah.
it was the last time I watched, and it's missing the Hulk film, but who cares on that one?
Oh,
But
apparently, Cherry is coming out on the 26th of February on Apple TV, and I'm not sure what it's about. He is a drug-addicted bank robber
Me.
Wow.
in Cherry, and his mum was apparently very, very unhappy with him taking the role.
Oh.
Because I assume because there's some scenes he said that he doesn't want her watching it and saying, oh, that's my boy, because it's very adult and
But
mature, and I'm quite excited to see him have a proper, well, Spider-Man obviously is a proper role, but a completely different role to everything we've seen
a
him
different
before.
role. Because
Consider
the one thing about Tom Holland is he hasn't. I know for a fact that he has got range in him. He's got a whole array of characters, and he is going to be one of the biggest actors of our generation. I 100% believe that. But he hasn't really had that chance yet because he's come to fame really because of Spider-Man. Like, let's
But what
face
I
it.
was
Like,
gonna
I've
say-
never heard the name before that. But did you watch The Devil All the Time? Because him in that is a whole other side of Tom Holland that I absolutely adored to see.
But
Yeah.
his fan base now, I was thinking just now, if his fan base, majority of it arguably has come from Spider-Man, which part of me is just like, if he's going into this role now, I can see a load of backlash like upcoming because of his sort of fan base age. Obviously, young kids who watch him for Spider-Man and then want to watch him for.
Well, there's a larger conversation to be
I
had
think
there
so,
about whether or
but-
not parents
but-
should let their
but-
children watch this movie. Like, they do
They
have power. over
autonomy because kids
I
these days
think
have
this
access
movie-
to anything.
I think this movie is it's a 15. It's a biopic about a heroin addict who stole money, from what I can gather, and I'm not sure whether it's based on a true story, but I'm sure we'll find out when it comes out whether it is.
Yeah.
I think
But-
because I think parents are always going to be slightly behind their children in terms of technology.
Yeah.
So I guess it's not as easy as saying you're the parent, you need to look out for this and
No,
make sure
100%.
you don't get this. But after a while, it depends how aware you are of things. And at the end of the day, you've got to let your children make mistakes. Like, I was traumatized by a horror film called Ghost Ship that just put me off horror films for such a long time. Because there's a scene at the start where a bunch of people get cut in half by some wire. And it's just so graphic. And I've watched it back, and it's such a shit film. it's just terrible.
That
It's
with
just...
Hobo with a shotgun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Part of me's just like, I'm sort of probably gonna have to wait to see it, but like the idea of like, depending on what the story is, I don't know if
like-
he's gonna come under backlash for like glorification of drug misuse. I can see that we need to protect him.
I don't
It's like,
think, I
I
don't think
really
that's gonna
hope
be
he
a thing.
won't. I really hope he won't. It's directed by the Russo brothers, who did Endgame. They're like very, very big directors, and they chose Tom Holland for the role because they knew that he could do it, because they know him through Marvel, by the looks of things.
At the end
And
of the day, like if it comes off well, that's
Like-
his career sorted. Then, do you know what I mean?
and I'm just excited to see him in a different role, because
Yeah.
he, like, I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is one of my favourite things. He was my first love and will probably be my last love.
Yeah.
And I think Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man is my Spider-Man from now on. Like,
Yeah.
I adore him. I adore Tom Holland. I love everything
I
he's
will
been in.
say Miles Morales as in the
Yeah.
animated Spider-Verse
Yeah.
is incredible.
I did have to
But-
actually the other day explain to a 12-year-old who Tobey Maguire was.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
no.
I've had
no.
those sorts
Oh,
of conversations
So,
with my little
shit,
cousin.
dude.
I
And
had to explain that scene.
and it's just like it proper shows your age when you say what Spider-Man movie you first saw,
Yeah.
or like first saw in the cinema, because I went to see the original trilogy in the cinema when I was a kid, because I've always been just as into Spider-Man as I am now, like
Yeah.
always.
You know how, like, you talk to people who were, like, kids or teenagers watching Doctor Who when Tom Baker was their doctor. You know how they talk
Yeah.
about Tom Baker being their doctor. Imagine what it's gonna feel like to be the adult who says to the teenager, "Oh, back in my day, David Tennant was my Doctor Who."
Oh yeah, let's not think about that. That makes me feel
Like
elderly.
it's starting to happen now, because there will
I'm
be kids.
ancient.
There will
Put
be
me in a
kids
retirement home.
whose Doctor Who now is going to be Jodie Whittaker, which I think is incredible. Like,
Yeah.
there's definitely
Yeah.
a larger conversation to be had there about how inspirational it is to have a female doctor in this role, who's going to inspire so many young people in a role that's been dominated by men for years.
And
but,
I'm very, very excited to
There's
see
going to be people who are going to be like,
what they do with
Jodie
it
Whittaker
next.
was my doctor, and now, and it's getting to a point where it's
mine
like
was Christopher Eccleston.
David Tennant was mine.
Yeah, mine
well,
was Christopher Eccleston.
mine originally was Christopher Eccleston, but my doctor, the doctor
David
I
Tennant.
always think about is David Tennant.
Yeah.
Like,
I think mine will always be Christopher Eccleston, purely because I'm from Manchester.
Yeah, fair.
Like it would have been Christopher
he's a
Eccleston for
Manc
me,
treasure.
but he didn't. He only did one season, so it's kind of.
True.
That's because he was very, very poorly.
Yeah.
And he just felt like he wasn't well enough for the role.
No, that's fair.
I've yet to buy his book, but he did release a book last year speaking about his mental health and how poor it was when he was filming Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And I will read it eventually, but it's not one that I want to read at the minute.
Yeah.
But I think it will be quite an interesting read, because you think of Doctor Who, you think happy-go-lucky family show, and he wasn't
No.
like that
He
while
was the
filming it.
angry doctor.
And it kind of it makes you feel sad looking at those episodes, thinking like, oh, that was such a large part of my childhood, but that man was so ill.
Okay, but the real question is, which doctor's assistant stands out as the doctor's assistant for you?
Rose Tyler.
My favourite is Rory.
Yeah, Rory.
And I liked, who was that guy that got eaten by the wheelie bin?
Mickey Smith.
Yeah, Mickey. Smith.
Mickey. Yeah,
Well,
Mickey. I
Donna
always had a
Noble
massive
name.
crush on Mickey. He was one of my first crushes when I was a kid.
Yeah, all of the side characters that sort of companioned the Doctor throughout,
Yeah.
Christopher Eccleston and
Companion,
David Tennant,
yeah.
were all really good companions.
Yeah. What was his
Um,
name as well? The hospital.
I
Rick
don't
Ross.
think there has been a good Doctor Who companion since David Tennant left the show. There's been good Doctors, there hasn't been a good Doctor Who companion.
I really
Not for
liked
me,
Graham.
anyway.
Like, I really liked Graham.
I loved
But
the,
I don't
the
know whether I
comedic
liked Graham
thing
or I
he
liked
added.
Bradley Walsh as
I
an
think you
actor.
just like Bradley Walsh. I think that's
Who
why
was-
he was there. Like, that's the whole reason he was there. I'm
was
interested
it?
to see what they do with what's the companion's name? The girl that's
Jazz?
left. Jazz. I'm interested to see
Jazz?
what they do with her character. Now they don't have to write for the other two, because let's face it, Bradley Walsh was only there to bring more attention to the show and just be Bradley Walsh, and Ryan's actor could not
Bless him, he
act
couldn't
for shit.
act.
He could
I-
not act at all.
Like,
So,
bless that man. Like, he tried his best, and his character was really shit. All he had going for him was that he couldn't tie his shoelaces because he was dyspraxic. If
Yeah.
you're gonna write a character, give them more depth than just their disability. But that's a deeper conversation.
Yeah.
and they had
definitely.
that. They
About
had that whole like
representation.
will they, won't they thing with Ryan and Jazz, and it's just like,
Oh, really?
how
annoyed
about
me.
they just don't, and we
It's
have
like-
Doctor Who? You
I
know?
really
Either they
hope
are
that
or they
Jazz-
aren't, and don't have this whole fucking will they, won't they thing, and then just kick the guy out the show anyway.
I
Like,
really hope that Jazz is a lesbian, because in that final episode when she was talking to Jack, I think it was, about the Doctor, it proper sounded like she was in love with her.
oh,
And
that's true,
and
actually.
and I spoke to multiple friends about this, and they all agreed with me that it was heavily queer coded.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we've had best companions. We've asked best companions. So what's your worst? And also, there is a right answer to this.
Fucking
Oh my-
Catherine Tate.
No! Go
No,
away,
Donna's
Noble.
great. Catherine Tate's
I
great.
aspire-
However,
I aspire.
Actually, I want to change my my answer to the first one. The granddad, Bernard Cribbins.
Oh,
No!
stop it.
Not a fucking chance.
He
Bernard
was
Cribbins
one of the
is
best,
the best.
he was one of the best
I
side
thought you were talking
characters.
about worst still.
And,
No, he was one of the best.
I was about to
he
play
He was one of the best
No,
side
same.
characters, and I really
he
wanted
was
him.
100%.
And I really wanted him to go off with the Doctor for at least one adventure.
He represented so much about what I love about Russell T Davies's writing. He represented all of the emotion, all of that self-sacrifice that David Tennant's Doctor has to do in the end. He represents so much. He represents the reason why the Doctor defends Earth. He represents the people that he talks to. He represents the older kind of man, but then they have that lovely scene that I always remember in the Cactus People's spaceship, where they're just like, he just says, "I'm older than you," like that whole thing, and it's all about David Tennant coming to terms with his death, and Walt's just like he thinks he's gonna die before him and things, and it's just like you see like this ancient being inside. That's what David Tennant got across so well, was this like the how old the Doctor was and how tired he was at the end.
I just think that it's something that Doctor Who hasn't had since Russell T Davies left. Like, and I am very biased because I adore Russell T Davies. I adore practically everything that he's written, minus Queer's Throat was a bit questionable, but it was true for the time, I guess.
But you know what?
But
really
like, and I don't think anything like. You could tell from his writing of Doctor Who that he loved those characters. Like, they weren't just characters to him. He thought of them as friends.
But the thing is, can we discuss Torchwood, please?
Torchwood, I really want to rewatch it because I loved it as a child.
Bad about Torchwood.
But
are you thinking of the Cyberwoman? Because I'm thinking of the Cyberwoman.
Same.
But like, I don't think it'll stand the test of time. I think if I was to rewatch it now, like I really badly want to, I think it would be awful and cheesy and cringy.
Does anyone else remember that? Was it like a spin-off series that there was? There was like Sarah or something where they had
Sarah
like,
Jane
K9?
Smith.
Sarah Jane Smith.
The Sarah Jane Adventures of Luke.
Yes, that's
I was a bit in love with Luke.
Same.
I feel it makes me feel sad to think about Sarah Jane's Adventures because she died just so unexpectedly. But it was a very big part. Like when I didn't have Doctor Who to watch, I had Sarah Jane Adventures to watch. Always. You know, it was always good.
Yeah, I never really got into it because I was a little bit too old.
I was too, but I just loved it. I don't know what
when it came out.
I just loved it.
Like, I think for me, I could never see the Doctor Who monsters outside of Doctor Who. Like, it felt really wrong to me. Yeah, like I Matt still Smith shows up in the Sarah Jane Adventures episode. Matt Smith's just there. He just shows up, and it's just like, you're not supposed to be here. Like, I know that you're all connected and everything, and this is great, and I love to see this character, but hold on a minute.
It's like seeing a teacher outside of school, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, you guys didn't answer my question. Worst Doctor Who companion?
Either Amy, actually. I'm changing my answer. Amy.
No.
You didn't give me an answer in the first place, so you can't change your answer.
Because I hate storylines where the companion falls in love with the Doctor. Like, with a passion.
I think Rose's storyline was the best version of that, and every time after that, it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Do you know who I really didn't like? She's not a companion, but I don't, for some reason,
Who?
I
Rose?
No. Her mum, Jackie.
Oh! Yeah. I love Jackie. Jackie was the best thing.
I love her, but I don't love her as a Doctor Who companion. I just love her as a Doctor Who, like, character that's there. I love her as a character because she's just so stereotypical council
British mum.
But you've heard Billy Piper's music album, haven't you?
No.
Oh, bro, it's like proper 2000s like rap. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna blow. Honestly, that's what you gotta listen to that as soon as we finish the podcast up, because Billy Piper's music.
I'm gonna Google this now. 1 second.
Put on Because We Want To, or don't, but like you need to listen to that one.
I still haven't got like an answer.
No, I don't. I feel like it's a lot easier to talk about the ones that stand out for me, because the ones I didn't like, I didn't watch, so I can't even remember who they are.
Okay.
I love
Yeah,
Martha.
So I'm operating
Martha.
under the assumption that everyone's like me, and regardless of how shit it's been in the past couple of years with Matt Smith's writing and Peter Capaldi's writing, I have loyally watched Doctor Who since
Oh my
I discovered
goodness.
it. Every single episode, every time.
Martha Jones stands out to me as my favourite, though. I absolutely
Favorite?
love Martha.
Really?
Yeah, Martha,
I thought she was terribly written. Like
I
she
thought
was...
Oh, I really didn't like
Badass.
Martha.
What?
Nah, I
Like-
didn't like her because the thing is I loved Rose as a companion because she stands out to me as like the height of Doctor Who companionship because she doesn't need the Doctor. There is some weird stuff going on with her falling in love, which now I watch it back doesn't really stand the test of time. Now I know more about love and relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
But if you set that aside, Rose can go off and have her own adventure and come back round to the Doctor, and all of their stuff link up and everything be fine. And she's her own person in her own right, doing her own things. She's strong. She's independent. She's just a good all-rounder character. And she can save the Doctor, and she also gets saved by the Doctor, and they just complement each other, you know? They're both powerhouses in the TARDIS in their own right. Whereas, my least favourite is the complete opposite of that, which is Jenna Louise Coleman's character. Cause
Oh, I forgot about her. I forgot that she existed.
fucking... what's her... I can't even...
Carla.
Kara.
What's she called?
Fucking
Kara.
Kara. Kara is the single worst companion Doctor Who has ever had. Right, I know.
Oh yeah, she was so bad that I forgot that she existed.
Because they wrote two Doctors for that whole thing. They wrote Kara as another Doctor, and she overtook the show so much. It became all about her. Like Matt Smith got
she's fit.
creepily fixated. Yeah, she's fit, but that is aside from the fact. Like Matt Smith's Doctor got creepily obsessed with her. And then there was a whole mystery thing. Then there was the whole convoluted plot of her going down the Doctor's timeline, etc.
Yeah.
And then, like, throughout Peter Capaldi's thing, there wasn't a single episode where Peter Capaldi's Doctor actually did anything. It was all her.
like-
It was all
like,
Kara
she was just-
all the time.
She was just, and that when she became did she become a Dalek or the TARDIS?
Oh, fuck knows, mate. It was so convoluted.
But either
so
way-
fucking annoying. It was so fucking ridiculous.
It was so confusing. Like they tried to do like a bad wolf.
Yeah, and it was
Like
shit.
they tried to do a overarching bigger storyline.
And it all
But
accumulates.
fucked up so
accumulates
badly
to
that
one
I
of-
forgot that the character existed.
It all accumulates to Peter Capaldi's last couple of episodes, where Kara has her last few episodes and leaves the show, right? And they kill her off. Like spoilers if you haven't seen it, but it's been out for years, so go fuck yourself. She goes through the whole thing, and that note, that like thing I have about she's too much of the Doctor, they actually bring that up in Peter Capaldi's season, and the Doctor's like, oh, there's only room on the TARDIS for one of me,
I
etc.
really cannot remember
that whole
any
thing.
of this.
And I actually liked that. I thought they were going in a good route because they brought attention to how shitty that was, and they seem to be going to a place with it, and in the end it results in Kara getting herself killed because she tries to be the Doctor too much, and she does something heroic, and it's actually it was the only time I ever felt anything in that entire show of Peter Capaldi's was when Kara died, because it was so dramatic, it was so good, it actually pulled at your heartstrings, it was done really well, and then in the next fucking episode they bring her back to fucking life immediately. And it's just so shit, man. It's just so... I'm too angry about this, but
yeah, I
could
can't even
not
remember
forgive
any
that.
of her
I could not
storyline.
forgive that. That was the
She was
worst.
a teacher, wasn't she?
That was the worst thing.
I think
hated
she
that.
was. I think she was.
My
Yeah.
favorite,
Yeah.
my favorite scene that, like, still to this day, I still think about this every once in a while, is with Matt Smith and Amy. I can't remember what the actor's name.
Karen Gillian.
Name. Karen Gillian, where she's pregnant and he comes out the car and he's like, "You swallowed a planet," and it got me. I still think about that. It makes me so hard.
Yeah. I know the one. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know the one you mean.
I think
Yeah.
that's the difference. Is you look at the past generations, because Doctor Who made a comeback, didn't it? It went for a few
Yeah.
years, and I think the difference between the old one is it was meant to be serious and like action. This one, it's so much more humour based. I think it's very much generational. We're all meme lords. We all want humour. And like the jokes that they made earlier,
and
don't translate well.
He was so light-hearted. Like with David Tennant, you had some bloody deep episodes.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you left it feeling like a bit. I don't know how to put it. Like it was quite a heavy show at times with David Tennant, and then Matt Smith felt like a breath of fresh air after him.
Yeah, definitely.
Because like you could watch it, it was light-hearted. Yes, the stories were bloody ridiculous. I'm looking at you, dinosaurs in space.
Yeah.
But it always made you smile, and it always made you feel better.
Okay,
I've got a comment on my chat talking about Clara. I'm saying that he doesn't think it's fair to say Eleven was creepily obsessed. If I kept seeing the same person again and again throughout time and space, I think I'd think about it a whole lot too.
There's a difference though, because the Doctor is naturally curious, and the Doctor is like he goes to solve mysteries, right? And that's part of his character. I love that about him, like that sense of curiosity, that sense of investigation, that sense of exploration. That's good, that's healthy, that's fine. But he falls in love with her, and it's so obvious that it's literally just Stephen Moffat sitting behind a typewriter with a massive erection going, "Ah, yes!" And then Kara kisses the Doctor, and they are so in love, and they are so fit, and I love them so much.
And I found it
creepy.
I found it a bit uncomfortable to watch as well.
Kissing the Doctor against the TARDIS. Both of those scenes so uncomfortable, but Kara takes the cake with how fucking in love with her the Doctor becomes. Because the Rose and the Doctor, they have their whole thing, and they are in love with each other, and you can see that. But they complement each other. They are, as I said, they're powerhouses. They're a power couple.
And then she has that weird
traveling
clone.
time and space, and that's fun. And then also she has her thing with Mickey, and she has that whole thing. But Amy, she just throws herself all over the Doctor, and that's like so
Rory's
so
there like
topic.
I
exist. So offbeat. That's so fucked. That really like was so weird to watch.
Like I found it quite uncomfortable how sexual it was because
it was so
was broadcast at 7:30. It was a kids show. Well, not a kids show. It was a family show, not like Torchwood, which was broadcast at 9 o'clock.
Like that. That's so weird.
And
so
it was. The Doctor shouldn't be a sexual character.
No,
because
no. I mean, I suppose like there's nothing wrong with a bit of like light-hearted raunchiness, I guess, for want of a better term.
Like with Captain Jack.
What am I, like fucking middle-aged? Jesus Christ. But yeah, like with Captain Jack, Captain Jack was really done well because it showed a character that could be with anyone, wanted to be with anyone, but it wasn't overtly sexual all the time. But Amy,
unless it was
with
in
the Doctor, was really creepily overtly sexual and so offbeat from the rest of the show. And then how the Doctor Simpsons over Kara is so offbeat. It's so weird. It's so wrong.
Yeah,
there's so many like innuendos and euphemisms throughout his companionship with Kara. That's just like, why am I being forced to picture these two having sex? I don't want that from my Doctor Who right now.
And like the age difference between the characters as well. Like I know there's an age difference between the Doctor and whoever because the Doctor is 900 years old.
Yeah.
But
well,
with Peter Capaldi was an older Doctor.
Yeah.
He's an older actor. He's still beautiful.
Yeah.
That's
not in a
I'd
fuck
That's
you
one
kind
thing
of way.
I did like was the fact that Peter Capaldi came along, and they did address how horny Matt Smith's character was over Kara. by Peter Capaldi just being completely the opposite, and he was just like,
Yeah.
look at you, I don't fancy you, you're ugly. Like, what is this? What is that? And it's just like,
And
I like that. That was funny. I like that. That brought some life to it. But still shit seasons, still shit characters.
so
Still hate
I just don't like it when the Doctor is sexual with anyone, and I think that's. I don't know whether it's because I watched it with my grandparents growing up, and it was a family thing. We'd all sit down on a Saturday night and watch Doctor Who together.
It's an actor thing, because River Song is absolutely daddy, and I think River
Yeah.
Song in itself.
Oh
is
shit! I
a
forgot
sexy-
about River Song.
It's a sexy character, and they have sexual tension constantly. And you know what? River Song
Yeah,
is my
but-
sexual awakening. But is it that the
That's
character
done in a
then
nice
makes
way.
you innocent? So
But-
it contrasted with the sexual sort of tension that she tried to bring in.
I think the difference is in yeah, like you said,
with
you said
River
innocence
Song.
there, and I think the difference there is power. Like I keep
Yeah.
coming back to this theme of power, but like Billy Piper and the Doctor, like both powerful, so it works. Their romance kind of works. Like obviously it was never
Yeah.
going to work out because the Doctor is a ancient time-traveling space
Yeah.
being, and Rose is a human woman that's going to die eventually, and
But
ends up
she's
getting
still got
stranded
a
anyway.
clone,
And she's
and
still got
that's
a clone.
nice.
And that's nice, and that was a nice conclusion to that story, I think. But like it was never going to work out. Obviously, we knew that. But the fact that there was romance there worked because they complemented each other, and the fact that there's romance between River Song and the Doctor works because they are both really powerful. But
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it's, like the reason I say it's creepy for Matt Smith's Doctor to be so in love and horny over Kara is because he does track her down. He stalks
Yeah.
this woman.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just don't think that's a good
Like,
message to send.
and-
Like, I get that, like, as I said before, I get, like, the mystery and wanting to solve it. That's fine. I understand that. But that is not the only reason he was there. And there's, like,
Yeah.
he was so, like, I can't say the word on Twitch anymore. But he
And-
was so there for Kara. Obsessed. He was so obsessed with Kara in an unhealthy way. Like, there was a healthy, thing underlying, but it was unhealthy as well. And that's the difference.
And
it's the
it's
same
sort
with
of-
Amy, because Amy... She goes traveling with the Doctor. He met Amy when she was a little girl. So
that's-
grooming alert.
Yeah.
What the
Weird,
fuck?
yeah.
That's weird. But then he meets her, goes on this adventure with her, takes her on one trip out to space, brings her back. Suddenly she's all over him. That's creepy.
Yeah.
That's weird. It's a power thing because she's now obsessed with him. You know?
Yeah.
And it's that power thing. Whereas Billie Piper was never obsessed with the Doctor. She just loved him, and they loved each other for their thing. And same with River and the Doctor.
Yeah, it just worked, and it was written in such a way that it flowed, like it fit with the characters. But when Matt Smith started being obsessed with these women, like, it sort of undid everything that David Tennant wrote about the Doctor, because in the David Tennant and the Rose storyline, we saw that the Doctor didn't necessarily want these connections with these women because he didn't want to hurt them.
Yeah.
And with Matt Smith's kind of goes against that directly.
Yeah.
So it's sort of
my god, we are such fucking nerds!
so it sort of undid.
For
So-
like 40 minutes. I'm
So-
here for it. I love it. But we are such nerds, man. Oh my god.
So
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna immediately finish this podcast, go to get food, and rewatch every single Doctor Who I can find.
we did that at the start of lockdown
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I never watched Matt Smith's era because I gave up after Dinosaurs in Space.
Yeah,
Dinosaurs in Space was when I often say that it's when my love for Doctor Who died, because I'd grown up with David Tennant, I'd grown up with Russell T Davies's writing, and he was so deep. There was so much depth to that character,
Yeah.
and like the storylines that he had, it was so much more than look at this dinosaur in space. If you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
I
Like,
think you've got to have. I think it's sort of like a comic relief aspect, though. I think
Yeah.
in order to have those heavy moments, you've got to have the sort of lighter moments. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, but
I think it
I
does
just
make
I
sense.
think part of it is I just don't like Moffat. I don't like his writing style. I don't like what he did to Doctor Who. I don't enjoy the Weeping Angels. Just unpopular opinion, they were good for
Oh
one
my
episode.
For that one episode,
They should
were
never have
amazing.
been
After
brought
that,
back.
It
Like,
did.
they
It-
should
it-
never have
it
been brought back
oversaturated
to
and it
the
made it
extent.
less scary.
Like-
I don't actually. I'm not even gonna lie. For some reason, I don't remember them coming back. I think I must have stopped
Matt
watching
Smith.
it for a little
Matt
bit.
Smith.
Oh.
Was
Matt
it?
Smith's here.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh my
they've been
goodness.
brought back so many times, they're just not scary. The first episode terrified me. I distinctly remember not being able to sleep and
Yeah.
like having nightmares for
No.
weeks and weeks
Yeah.
and weeks.
That episode.
It
About
was so
them.
well done. Like the tension was so brilliant. The music was creepy and
Yeah.
eerie, and it wasn't even the Doctor. The Doctor wasn't there. The Doctor had already been got. That was what was scary
Yeah.
about it. The Doctor wasn't really there. He was gone. He's already been got by these monsters. So if they can get this superhero that we all fucking know and love, what are they going to do to this poor, just woman? This poor woman just wandering
Exactly.
around by herself. And
Yeah.
it was so well done. Like that scene in the car park where she just gets the, she sees the TARDIS for the first time. Just
Yeah.
utterly beautiful because you know that something's gonna happen, and she leaves and she
Yeah.
leaves that guy behind, and it's just you're just so scared. Like that was done really well. Right, we've
But-
talked about podcast. We talked about Doctor Who for a long ass time, and I think we're near the end of this particular episode.
Yeah,
so
we're at 1
do
minute.
we have any
1 hour,
any-
4
do-
minutes.
Do we have any stories? Any like 5-minute things that we want to close this podcast off that aren't Doctor Who related?
Logan Paul has moved to Puerto Rico on a whim.
Oh, good for
Well,
him. Good,
Like,
good
he
for him
said-
that he can do that.
Like he said that it's an impulsive decision
But when
that
did he do
he's
that?
that he's moving from
Just now. I
LA
think, just
to-
around now.
Puerto Rico.
So
He
I
went
can't-
out. He went out there on holiday a couple of weeks ago. Bear in mind the
Oh,
current
yeah.
climate we're living in, and fell in love with it. It comes a week after Jake Paul has announced that he's selling the Team 10 house.
Bruv,
Apparently
how can
his-
I not go to the pub and he can move to Puerto Rico?
Because the Americans, man.
Exactly.
but apparently
America
his
is a
podcast
different
ending.
world.
Apparently his podcast ended yesterday
Yeah,
as well.
But
on top,
they-
on top of that.
because they won't be able to film it in person because he will live in Puerto Rico.
That's
So-
absolutely mad.
Yeah.
So, like, I
Money,
wonder
power,
if
America,
it will bring
that's why
a
he can
change
move
for
to
the
Puerto
LA
Rico.
YouTubers.
Oh,
Oh,
and
Puerto
also
Rico.
talking of money and power, I just want to quickly talk about one of the most boring things in the world, cryptocurrency and Elon Musk. I love Elon Musk, by the way. How awkward he is when you if you
Yeah.
watch him in interviews or when he's on stage, he does not want to be there. He
Yeah.
is
He's
just
one of
such
the
a strange
richest men
man.
in the entire world, and he has to be there to present his stuff, but he doesn't want to be
Yeah.
there ever. And how awkward he is on stage is how I feel inside whenever I'm talking to a group of people I don't know. It's
Every
Yeah.
day.
I just love
Like,
that. But anyway,
he's
I just impressed with how much power that man has. A
Yeah.
word from that man, a tweet from that man has raised fucking cryptocurrency through the fucking roof. And that's kind of scary.
The power it has,
Yeah. But like also cryptocurrency is unregulated. So he has that's like clear market manipulation, right?
Yeah.
He's gone out, he knows he's got this power, he said these words, and prices have soared to the roof. If he had any money in cryptocurrency, which I guarantee you he does,
Yeah.
he has now got so much more money. And
100%.
but he can't get any repercussions for that, and that's kind of scary, but also good for him, I guess. It doesn't really affect anything one way or the other. Like, he's not hurting anyone by doing that.
Yeah.
In fact, he's benefiting a shit ton of people who've got money in cryptocurrency. So
Yeah.
there's
I
that.
don't really
but,
understand what cryptocurrency is, and I
It's
don't think I ever
basically-
will.
It's basically a decentralized money. I'm not going to get too much deep into it because I want to end this podcast, and if I do, it'll go on for another fucking hour. But basically, the idea is to take money away from, take power away from the people that control money currently.
Yeah.
Because with cryptocurrency, you are not reliant on anyone else. I have to trust the bank to not go under in order to keep my cash, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm trusting the bank with my money, and if they go under, I go under, you know? That's the whole kind of deal. Like, I trust them with my money when I give them that. Whereas, if I buy cryptocurrency, I've just got that cryptocurrency, and that's just mine now. And no one has to, like, if I send that to someone, that's just theirs now, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one holding it. There's no. That's my, like. I'm not an expert. I don't know what I'm talking about. So that's my, like, kind of uneducated opinion on it.
Yeah.
But that's basically from what I can gather, that's the whole, like, kind of idea. And I think it could be the future, but I don't think anyone is going to trust it if we've got things called Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Like, I don't
think
understand
anyone's
it.
ever going
I
to
don't.
trust it in the first place because it's too complicated. If you hand your money to a bank, the bank can go, yeah, we got your money now, and you can take it out via this card, and that's done. But if you want to get money in cryptocurrency, you've got to get a wallet and do all that, and then all the numbers are really big or decimal places, or they don't make any sense or whatever. But anyway, that's too much, and that will be another whole 50 minutes of podcast. So
I cannot
closing
stop yawning.
thoughts, people. Closing thoughts.
So, closing thoughts.
What have we learned today?
The
Kara is the worst companion, hands down.
The Pangas.
Don't move to Puerto Rico during a global pandemic, you stupid Americans. And Elon Musk has too much power, but honestly, I think that man could probably kill someone, and I still think it would be justified because I just love him so much.
yeah, probably.
Okay, thanks very much for watching the podcast.
On that
Bye.
note, I'm gonna go because I can't stop yawning.
Right, bye,
Bye.
bye, bye, bye,
Bye.
bye, bye. Bye.